actually real shit? What, guys, I thought it was happening all day. Is this just happening now? What's even happening?
Smile.
Bro, I was supposed to fucking order food. I totally forgot. God damn it. Holy shit.
Jesus.
It's the end of the world and
That's
I'm
crazy.
sitting here watching little cartoon characters ride around a virtual racetrack gambling on fake internet points. Maybe
Don't
I can
play
trade
not
some
verified.
channel
Yeah,
points in the
Ukraine
nuclear
has,
wasteland.
Jesus.
Isn't that poster a no fake news poster? Yeah, I think like some of those posters are not real news. Some of those posters are fake news. So I'll
Is Disney covering this or not?
About what's going on.
But nonetheless worth repeating. Ghana unreservedly stands by the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine, a bona fide member of the United Nations, whose membership of this organization provides for her guarantees over her internationally recognized borders, the same borders with which she joined this organization. We aver that the current developments in the eastern regions of Ukraine would not lead to a strategic gain for any party.
These guys are gonna end it, dude. I
Encourage
promise. They're
efforts
gonna
to
end war,
address
bro.
both immediate and long-term interests.
They're gonna fucking end the
through
war, bro.
diplomacy
They're gonna do it. They're
As
getting
called
to it,
for by the
okay?
preamble of
Ghana
the
Giga
Charter.
Chad.
We remind all parties to practice tolerance.
Is watching? I
live
don't
together
know.
in
It's
peace
some
with one
stuff
another as
happening.
good neighbors. Finally, we
I don't
take
really
this
get into politics
opportunity
unless
to urge all
something big is
members
happening. Because Chad just keeps spending about it.
to exercise
But not
restraint
Chad spending about it, so it is what it
on
is.
the respective
Honestly.
unsettled but accepted situations across the
You can
globe.
see it there on the map.
Okay, fuck this. All right, I'm moving on to American news coverage.
Signal that this operation
Shit sucks.
is a large one.
Guys,
We don't know if it's as large as U.S. authorities had feared, but it is certainly much larger than just simply entering the Donbass from the east. I should mention that we've also
Guys,
learned tonight that civilian
my brother
flights
with
over
a New Zealand
Ukraine have
account
been
can't buy the game. It's not
restricted,
working. Why would it not be
particularly
working?
over northeastern Ukraine.
It's from New Zealand.
This is
It's
believed
his
that,
account. All the whatever.
restriction
It's not
came
working.
after a warning from Russia to flights entering these areas that they do so at their own risk. We also know that a no-fly
Okay,
notice
buy gift
has
cards.
been issued for the Kharkiv airport. That's the city just to the north of the Donbass, where I said they're hearing explosions as well at this hour. As I mentioned, the second largest city in Ukraine, after the Ukrainian military reported Russia may target Kharkiv in an attack. And in fact, tonight these explosions would signal that in
makes
fact
sense.
is the case.
xQc
You heard Martha
wartime
mention
new
earlier
crypto-
Chat, isn't that, guys, isn't it not a fucking DMC bullshit? Don't you have DMC watching this shit?
Kyiv, but in addressing the Ukrainian people, he made it very clear that he was staying put, at least for now. James Longman, our foreign correspondent in Moscow, listening to Vladimir Putin these last couple of days, his address to the Russian people, making the case for moving in, declaring
Guys, I don't understand
those
it.
two separatist
I understand
regions
it.
independent. And
What's even
James
happening
Vladimir
here? Are they
Putin
just
coming back
no?
on television in Russia just tonight, declaring a special military operation now underway, and he told Ukrainians to lay down their
no,
arms.
wait.
That's right, David. And I think the choreography of this was really rather extraordinary. The timing of this message. Just
My brother, you're not covering this thing happening, man.
I think that the obsession over the breaking news stuff is really cringe. Like, nothing is going to change whether I watch the news tomorrow or today. It's not like I'm going to be taking cover. And I think that a lot of the analysis that people do in, like, breaking events is pretty shit anyway. Like, there's just no value. If people are honest that they're just watching it because they want to see people getting blown up or it's, like, entertaining, then I guess that's cool. But, like, otherwise...
Wait, it's not entertaining. I don't think that's entertaining, though.
It absolutely is entertainment. The only reason people are watching this right now is for entertainment. I'm sorry, that's just true. Because if you go to sleep right now and you wake up in the morning, you just read what happened, you are exactly just as informed as somebody that like stayed awake with their eyes glued to the screen watching it overnight.
Yeah, but you get it earlier though.
Who cares? What difference does that make in your life? Is there an election that you're voting on at 2 a.m. about foreign policy?
Okay.
No.
Well, what arbitrary timeline do you use then to like let's say well, would you rather hear
like so
now
for me, it'd be
or
like once the events are over. So like right now, it's possible that Russia is rolling in armor and shit to Ukraine. Maybe not. But if I go to sleep and I wake up, I'll read what's happened, and then I'll be just as informed as anybody that stayed awake all night with their eyes glued to the screen. I'm not saying that it's wrong or bad to watch it for entertainment, but don't lie to yourself and pretend that it's not for entertainment. It's exciting as fuck. Where eyes are glued to the screen, waiting for explosions and bombs and shit to drop, and everybody's blood is running fucking high, and like people want to get on Twitter and tweet like hot takes and shit. But like it's entertaining for sure. But that's all it is. It's not information or news or whatever. Like nobody knows if it's a transformer blowing up or if it's a bomb being dropped or if nukes are starting, right? It's just for entertainment, you know.
I would think that people just want to be informed in live what happens, and if things get better or worse, or they want to know what's happening, you know?
Yeah, but like, what's the difference between looking now versus like let's say I stay awake until 6 a.m. and I watch this for the next 6 hours, even if stuff happens. Let's say that instead somebody else goes to sleep and they wake up and they read like 10 minutes, like what happened on the news. The next day, who's going to be more informed, right? They both have the same level of information.
Right. Wouldn't you know a bit more about the development though? Like,
No.
Okay.
No, because like when you watch this breaking news shit, like 80% of the shit that gets reported is fucking fake anyway. It's people tweeting shit like oh my god, there's tanks in fucking Ukraine. Like they're already at Donbass. Like we saw pictures of troops fleeing. There was already right. Nobody knows how much of this shit is true or not. Like half the shit get, especially in Middle Eastern stuff where everybody's just brown. People will post like images and videos of shit from like 20 years ago and be like, look, this is ISIS killing people right now. And Syria's like, no, it's not. It's Turkish troops fighting Kurdish people in southeast Turkey. Like it's not even remotely related. So it's you usually just wait till the next day, read the news articles, figure out what really happened. But if you want to watch this shit, it's cool. But it's just like it's
well, I'm not watching it because I was unaware. I was aware about all of it, right? And I don't get into politics unless chat gets so overwhelming that I literally cannot play fucking games about fucking Mario Kart. But the chat saying World War III, World War III, World War III. Now I'm like, okay, we'll get it for a couple minutes, and chat will calm down. So, but everybody is now currently aware. But I don't even know how what stems. How about you give me a little bit of history lesson?
A little bit of a history lesson on. So Ukraine. Well, how far back do you want to go?
Well, just don't give me a fucking anthropology, fucking tier 3 motherfucker. Just.
So Ukraine used to be a really important satellite state of the Soviet Union. It was a really big part. Like Ukraine was like the #1 adversary to the United States. Ukraine was a big deal. They're rich in natural resources. I think a majority or a large part of the Soviet Union's nuclear arsenal was stored there. It was a really important part of the Soviet Union. And there's a lot of history between like I think it's Serbian people that came. Serbian people, right? Serbian people that came from that region. It goes back to like over 1,000 years between like how these people have kind of associated with each other. The important stuff basically is that Ukraine used to be part of the Soviet Union. Ukraine broke off from the Soviet Union after the Cold War ended and the Soviet Union dissolved. And now the Soviet Union and Russia have this strange relationship. Oh, Slavic people. I'm sorry, not Serbian people, Slavic people. Russia and Ukraine have this weird relationship where the majority of Ukraine wants to be kind of like aligned with the West. They want to be pro-European Union. They want to be pro like Western NATO maybe. But Russia obviously doesn't want that. Russia wants Ukraine to be loyal to the Russian Empire and loyal to Russian interests. There was a leader, Yukonovich, I don't remember his name, in Ukraine that was famous for being a pretty
I'm learning.
And he kind of like acts to what?
No, I'm learning.
Oh yeah, basically there was a president of Ukraine. He axed a big pro-EU trade deal, and everybody in Ukraine got super mad. They tossed the dude out of office. They put in a new leader, and he's way more aligned with the West, like pro-Western interests. Putin got really fucking ass mad at this. He came in and he took back Crimea, stating that like, oh well, hold on, these are mostly ethnically Russian people anyway, and technically Crimea was a gift given by the Soviet Union to Ukraine a long time ago. It's like, well, we deserve this anyway. Putin gets really high ratings whenever he fucks with Ukraine. When he took back Crimea, everybody's really excited for it anyway. And now basically there's this weird conflict right now where Ukraine wants to be more aligned with Western interests, and Russia is uncomfortable having another country on its border that's more aligned with Western interests. Sorry, there's like a ton of like random shit in here, but
it makes sense. Well, hold on. But is it only the president of Russia, or is it like his party? Is it like how much of all this thinking and mindset is only him and or his party? I don't really know how politics work in
people in Russia are ultra nationalistic. The idea of like rebuilding the Russian Empire, I think, is generally broadly supported by the Russian people. When Putin rolled in and took back Crimea, he had massive support in Russia for doing it, and he was on a huge high politically from doing it.
Okay, but it seems like I don't know. Just from my perspective as an outsider who doesn't know much about politics, it always seems like Russia is like standalone. No, we're like this, like against the world type of thing.
So the problem is that like after the Cold War, the United States won the Cold War, right? So you've got NATO, which is a whole bunch of countries that basically existed to say fuck Russia, and then you've got like the European Union, which is like this Western organization of like European countries, and all of the I'll say like most of the world kind of chose and threw their weight behind the United States in opposition to the Soviet Union or now Russia. And now Russia is kind of hanging out there as like, well, fuck, we lost the Cold War, we lost our satellite states, and we're kind of like slowly dwindling away, and we don't really know what we want to do now because our leader really wants to rebuild the empire, and obviously the rest of the world doesn't want to see that happen.
What does that mean though? What does that mean though? Rebuilding the empire. What kind of vision is that? What kind of end game or end goal does that look like? Rebuilding the empire.
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, it could be reclaiming some of the lost satellite states that are like really rich in resources. It could be just
but is that something that can happen in our current modern days, that you reclaim land forcefully like that? Isn't that like an old concept people still do that?
It's complicated. So like you can't cross swords with another nuclear power. So like Russian troops are never going to be shooting at U.S. troops and vice versa. But like wherever you can edge out territory or edge out victories, you're going to be really invested in maintaining that part of your quote-unquote empire or your alliances. So like, for instance, the entire West was hoping for Assad to fall in Syria. The United States maybe potentially was like even funneling weapons into groups there, saying like, oh, the FSA, the Free Syrian Army, these people need to fight for their independence. And Putin was like, after what happened to Gaddafi in Libya, I am never letting another ally fall. There were jets flying in. People from China were going in to help Syria. Like, there was no way that he wanted to watch that country that was aligned with him, that leader that was aligned with him, fall. And so I think that Putin generally looks like that. He looks to countries around the world that are aligned with that are aligned with Russian interests, and he just wants those countries to be strong, to have, I guess, what little they can hold on to. In terms of like outright invading things, it gets hard. Like, Russia's not just generally going to send troops in, but they'll take advantage of like complicated situations to try to see where they can edge out victories. So like what happened in Georgia was pretty complicated. I think there was a Russian ambassador that was killed by, I don't know if it was a Georgian military member or somebody that was like pro-Georgia, and they took advantage of that opportunity. Like, oh, what, we're going to go in and do that because they aggressed, you know? Or with Crimea, right? Well, Crimea was technically a gift to Ukraine, and, you know, they want their independence from us. Well, you know, most of the people there are ethnically Russian. They want to be part of us. We're going to go in and free those people first by supporting freedom fighters, and then by stepping in and helping those people once we think that they have a right to that region, you know? So they kind of look for these little edge cases to work around, basically.
Interesting. Okay. And why do people say if most of the time there isn't like a big, I mean, there isn't like big wars or anything like that, right? And it seems like in our modern days, from my perspective, there isn't too many wars. Yeah, there are some, I get it. But when people are being weird and they're obviously in the wrong, why doesn't everybody just say, okay, well, we're not going to give you a wood, food, water in it, and people just stop the trade with them, and then now they're kind of fucked.
Well, that's kind of what's going on right now with the United States. So the United States is basically trying to get all of NATO together, maybe the European Union, I don't know if that's, but all of NATO together, basically say like, hey, well, we're going to sanction the fuck out of your country if you are going to do these things. But like, there's a lot of countries around the world that you can trade with. It's not like there's a world alliance of countries that are ready to sanction you. So it might, you know, cost more, but you could ship in stuff from other places, South America. Why is there not like a world union of countries?
Yeah, but doesn't everybody agree to at least a certain common ground? Be like, oh, this guy's being weird. Well, nobody trade with this guy anymore.
Well, because everybody had, like, tons of people have totally different interests about what they want to see in the world. Not everybody just wants to be like, oh, the U.S. said this, so we're going to do this, you know?
It seems to me people say UN, but UN, from my perspective, I had a lot of politics classes and whatever, and it seems like UN is just a bunch of talk. Let's all agree to this. Everybody is all happy with their hands up, and when it actually comes down to doing stuff, nobody gives a shit about it. Everybody just breaches everything that they signed for.
I mean, like, there are enforceable actions that the UN passes. Like, if you violate some UN mandates, like, there will be, you know, sanctions that will come out against you. It will hurt your economy. But, I mean, the UN is kind of, like, intentionally designed not to be super heavy-handed, because the UN is supposed to make the world a more peaceful place. Like, sometimes people look at the UN and be like, there's something on the UN called the UN Security Council. And, you know, I think Russia and China are members of the Security Council. You only need, like, one vote to shoot down, you know, like, major action. And people are like, okay, well, we can never do anything with all these other countries on the Security Council. This is so dumb. And it's like, well, it's supposed to be that way. You want to have unanimous approval from people so that the entire world doesn't go fucking haywire, you know, with the UN acting as like a warmongering organization or being really aggressive towards certain parties. So it might seem like the UN is a little bit toothless. There are like mandates that get enforced and there are sanctions that come from it, but like overall, you don't want it to be a super adversarial body. You want most people to feel kind of bought into it.
Okay, and I was watching something, and a lot of African countries were speaking, like Ghana, like Gabon. What? Why?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't know anything about their involvement in any of this.
Okay. Okay. Now, what does Russia want to achieve here? Why they want to reclaim? How do you mean reclaim? How are you reclaiming when you're just destroying it? If I want to reclaim, let's just say like you're in my house. You're in one of my. I have 4 houses. You're in one of my houses, right? Hey, that's my house. And then I bomb it, right? Well, now I don't have a house anymore. Why would I do that if I want to reclaim something that I just destroyed?
Well, because you want the land and the territory. Strategically, the territory represents something. You're getting further and further away from Moscow in terms of having land that you own, that other people can't set up, attacks against you from. The area itself is like really rich in industry and resources. So owning that area, I think there's a lot of iron and other, I think there's other types of resources that are valuable in Eastern Ukraine as well. And if you can argue that you have like an ethnic majority there too, which they do because it's been purposely designed that way. Russia has been shipping Russian people into Eastern Ukraine since the 1800s. Then if you can own that land, you're just basically expanding your territory further and further west, and then it just gives you an advantage to.
Until what? Well, what's the end goal? To crush it until there's no Ukraine? It's all Russia, and then what? And then what? And then what if another country that next to the border doesn't have the same political mindset as they have and upset at them? What are they gonna do? Crush them and push up? And then what? All of Europe is now, or all Asia, all Europe is all Russia now? What?
It's not gonna be infinitely pushing. It's just gonna be pushing as far as you can, basically. Because from the Russian perspective, what they view is NATO is pushing as hard as they can into Russian borders. They view, Russia will say, well, the US is an imperialist country that's expanding its own borders with NATO. I think 4 or 5, there are like 5 different countries that are bordering Russia now that used to be part of the Soviet Union that are now NATO member states. If the United States is going to push over and over again on their borders.
What's NATO?
So NATO was created in 1949, I think. It's the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It was created, basically a bunch of countries came together and were like, hey, we don't want the Soviet Union to take over, so we're all going to join kind of like the United States, and we're all going to serve as kind of this opposition to communism, or the opposition to the Soviet Union.
Okay, no, I know, but okay, what is the acronym in French for NATO? Does anybody know?
OTAN, O-T-O-A.
Oh yeah, okay, makes sense, yeah.
O-T-A-N,
yeah, I know about the ALENA, the OTAN, and the OPEP.
Okay.
Yeah, I know about this shit. It's because
I would have OPEC. I understand because you have different acronyms in French.
Yeah, we have to relearn them because I know all this shit. I had advanced anthropology. I had fucking politics. You know, I know my bases, yo. Okay. Interesting. Well, I was just confused. Cause I, at first, with all respect, I thought people were like memeing it, but people were saying World War III, Monk W, and then Sybil said his city is getting shelled or whatever. That's
so
real
yeah.
shit,
We don't really get to like World War III because, like I said, like 2 nuclear powers will never cross arms. You're never gonna have Russian and U.S. troops shooting at each other. This is why you hear the term like proxy war, and people are backing different groups and areas. We're not gonna put troops on the ground, U.S. boots on the ground, to go and fight with Russian troops because we don't know if that leads to people nuking each other. But we can arm some rebel group, like we did with the Mujahideen, I think, in Afghanistan. Like we'll arm certain groups to go and fight against Russian troops because, hey, well, it's different, it's not us fighting, one-on-one. So that's kind of how it works, yeah.
A little bit like Hunger Games, like people like they sponsor their fighter type of thing. They give them like bonuses and whatnot, right? And they're like betting that their fighter's gonna win against the other one, right?
Maybe, yeah. Or maybe like, say like I really fucking hate you, but I don't want to say that I hate you, but let's say that you've got like an orbiter. I might tell one of my orbiters to go fuck with your orbiters, and that's my way of like fucking with you, but I'll never say anything against you directly because I don't want to hurt the clout,
Interesting. So when does this end though? Like what could even happen here? Do you think that they're actually gonna push through and get a bunch of land, and then what?
So right now, what Putin has done is, and unfortunately this propaganda works and it's spread a lot on the internet, unfortunately, especially on Twitch. But basically, Putin kind of spreads this idea that, well, hey, in Eastern Ukraine, a lot of these areas are really ethnically Russian and they want to be independent. And you know what? We recognize their independence. They're independent states. Well, now if Russia sends troops into these independent states, all they're trying to do is secure the freedom and safety of people that are trying to declare their independence from the oppressive state of Ukraine. So that's essentially what Russia's done now is they've recognized these regions, these two regions to the east that together form the Donbass region. They recognize that as independent. So now they'll send in troops to make sure that those people are quote unquote safe. But the thing that people don't recognize is historically, there's always been a deliberate effort by Russia to ethnically cleanse and purify eastern Ukraine so that they can pretend that they have a stronger claim to that land. Like in past actions, they've made it illegal to teach Ukrainian. They've made it so that there have been famines that have killed millions of people in Ukraine, and then they've moved in. They've shipped hundreds of thousands of ethnically Russian people into eastern Ukraine, and now later they can go, well, hey, look, like
yeah,
it's
they're
all
Russian.
people, like,
They're Russian. They
yeah,
want to be
Russian.
Russia. Oh, it's like, oh, they're there, and these guys are in Ukraine, but they're Russian, and they want this type of thing.
That's what they're arguing, and there might even be parts of that are true because a lot of people there are ethnically Russian. I think the majority of people in Crimea did support Russia annexing Crimea. But again, like, yeah, but is that fair to the sovereignty of Ukraine that based on past imperial action? It would kind of be like us, like basically saying to Native Americans, like, hey, sorry, like it's all Americans that live here now. We're kicking you the fuck out. And then Native Americans in the United States would be like, okay, well, hold on. That's because you killed all of us and then moved in a bunch of like Europeans. Like, no shit, there's none of us left, you know?
Jesus. This guy in chat says, he's delusional. This is such an American biased take. Why do you think this guy was said in chat?
So I've already given the Eastern take, or I shouldn't say Eastern. So the Russian take is that the United States is continuously antagonizing Russia by putting more and more NATO-aligned countries or involving more countries as part of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, that are right on the border of Russia. And Russia views that as like, hey, like it's not cool that you are drafting fucking members of the Soviet Union into NATO, and now you use these places to set up like fucking missile platforms and shit that can be used to shoot down our planes.
Interesting.
So if you Google, so I think like there's like 5 or 6 countries now that are bordering Russia that are NATO countries. And so the Soviet, obviously Putin's like, this is bullshit. Like, I don't want this shit right next to my fucking, right in my front yard. And then arguably Ukraine really wants to join NATO as well. But like I said before, Ukraine was a really big part of the Soviet Union. It was like the most powerful state arguably in the Soviet Union, one of them, yeah.
But wouldn't it be kind of delusional perhaps to say that it's that them doing it maliciously, like if NATO it's viewed as good as a good thing, which want more people to be part of it, and they're not doing it maliciously, they just want the good thing to be bigger?
Well, I mean, we view it as good in the West, but obviously Russia views it as adversarial because NATO basically stands for fuck Russia, right? Kind of.
Yeah, but I mean, if I'm just saying, I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying, of course you're gonna see it that way if if let's say you're wrong, right? You know that you'll be on your own. If everybody wants to be part of something, why don't they just join that then? Why don't they all become together? Why don't they
all join NATO?
Yeah.
Because Russia doesn't want that. And I don't know if it's, I think there have been different agreements that have been drafted in the past about what countries NATO will draft. But like, if Ukraine were to try to join NATO, Russia like literally might invade that day. Like, fuck no, this isn't happening. Like, we're going into Ukraine. They'll stage a false flag, whatever they have to do. Because having Ukraine now be part of NATO, like it's just, that's a very frightening prospect for Russia to have that country right there. On their doorstep now being part of NATO. Because keep in mind that it's kind of like, you've played Risk, right?
Right, I like Risk a lot.
Yeah, well in Risk, as soon as you own a country, right, you get to move all of your fucking troops there. And that's the scary thing for Russia, is they don't want there to be NATO troops on their doorstep in Ukraine, right? Whereas if Ukraine is like loyal to it, or at least neutral, then they have Belarus, they've got Ukraine, they kind of have this safe buffer zone. So
they want like a cushion in between them and NATO, so that the damage isn't direct or things aren't like immediate, right? They're like a buffer zone in between.
Yeah, a buffer state is what people would call it. It's like a buffer state, basically. Yeah.
So basically, like in Risk, right? If I have Australia and I have a big ass number, like 30 troops around front, right? Where it leads to Asia, right? I want to have the fucking noob with 5 or 10 troops in between me and the other guy who's trying to get Asia, who has like another 40 troops. Because then the guy can attack me directly, right? And there's somebody in the middle, like a noob. So that's, I get it. But is that what they have everywhere? Is other countries that are on their border all non-NATO?
Well, no, not anymore. So Estonia and Latvia are bordering Russia, and I believe both of those are NATO.
So why aren't those getting invaded? I'm sorry, I don't know that I want to.
Because they're already in NATO. This is the thing, is that like once somebody has been turned into a NATO player, you're never ever touching that country. That's where World War III starts. If Russia puts boots on the ground in a NATO country, because the NATO agreement is like, if you fuck with one of us, we are going to bring down the hammer of the United States onto you and destroy whatever it is, right? So Russia can't set foot into NATO countries. That's why they don't want Ukraine to be part of NATO, because now they have no leverage there for anything, right? They would get destroyed.
So what if Ukraine were to sign something and say, "Oh, we're NATO now, bitches"? Then what?
I don't know. Nobody knows what would happen. Like Russia very, very, very much does not want that. Ukraine wants to join NATO, but like I don't even know if the United States would want Ukraine to join NATO as well. Because again, we don't want to be that antagonistic. Because that might be the last domino where it's like, okay, well if Ukraine is joining, like we're fucked. It's all over. Like now we're full on invading. Like that might be the motivation or the instigating act they need to like, go ahead and move in. So
what if it's the opposite and instead the domino falls backward instead of forward?
Nobody likes to play games when it comes to nuclear weapons.
Oh, okay. Oh. Well, fuck, man. This is kind of lame that everybody has a red button for nuclear weapons. If people didn't have that, it'd be much simpler.
Yeah, because then there'd just be armies on the ground fighting each other again. But like, yeah, obviously nuclear weapons makes everything up. Like it increases the stakes quite a bit.
It's like, if things get wrong, then everybody boom. That's stupid as shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, arguably, some people would say that like nuclear weapons are one of the reasons why we've established so much peace in the modern world. It's because nuclear superpowers will never.
Yeah, because you have it. It's just the fact that you have it means you.
It's kind of like it's like you make like a room where everybody can go and beat the shit out of each other. They can punch each other as hard as they want, but like everybody also has a gun. Like, nobody's really going to walk up and start punching anybody, because if anybody starts losing, they're going to fucking shoot the other dude. So it's like, okay, well, I guess we're all just going to kind of jerk ourselves off here and not do anything,
Jesus. Okay. I have a better scope about this. I was letting a Ukraine talk at the thing.
Can confirm it.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking at the. What is that I'm watching? They have like a small name next to them.
Interrupt me, please. Thank you.
This guy's mad. He's getting up to it. He says, "I'm Ukraine."
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know what you're watching about.
Anyway, you declared.
Just keep in mind, I'll just say this because obviously it's Hasan that's doing this. There's a lot of really bad propaganda being spread right now that like Russia has an authentic claim to those eastern territories, or all of this is like made up by the West or whatever. This is not true. Like you can go through like even recent history in Ukraine. Like there's a reason why they tossed their last president out that wanted to make Ukraine a puppet state of Russia. Like the Ukrainian people do not want this. Whether or not you want to talk about the US as corrupt or imperialistic, or Russia as corrupt or imperialistic or whatever, like the Ukrainian people themselves do not want to be another fucking puppet state of Russia. And people pretending that all of this is manufactured by the United States are absolutely fucking delusional. They have no idea what they're talking about. Challenge them to watch just like a 10-minute video on the history of Ukraine from like the 1800s to today. It's just so stupid. There's been so much ethnic cleansing that's gone on in East Ukraine deliberately by Russia to move people in there, that to try to say that like, oh, well, they should own the territory now because they're Russian anyway, it's like absolutely so fucking delusional. It's insane. But yeah, just as a
okay.
thing to keep that in mind.
Wait. So even though you're both American, you and Hasan don't hold the same view about what's happening. How not?
For who's American? Wait, for what?
You and Hasan don't view this the same. People have different opinions.
No, so people like Hasan will say that like, so Hasan, for instance, has said that like there have been false flag attacks by Ukraine, that there's a bunch of neo-Nazis in Ukraine, and that all of this shit is just like the West. So for a long time, so this is like the major like L that Hasan took recently. Hasan was trying to claim recently that like Russia didn't actually care about Eastern Ukraine at all. It was all bullshit. All of this was just Western military contractors trying to stir shit up so that the US would go to war. And he took a huge L, because I think yesterday he finally had to admit that he was totally out of his element and completely fucking wrong, and he walked it back completely. And I think now he's trying to find new hills to die on. I think his most recent tweet is that Russia will not launch an urban counterinsurgency war in a neighboring country with 44 million people, whatever. But yeah, basically a lot of people were trying to say that like the West is just making all of this up because we love to go to war and we want to go to war. But in reality, we don't really. Like, if you look at our military contractors like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Raytheon, and you look at like the size of these companies, like we make money on like tech and shit. We don't make money going to war with random fucking countries. Like our markets tank. It's not good for the US economy or anybody in the world. So that's just like some bullshit.
Is this why my Bitcoin is tanking? I have a lot of Bitcoin. It's going down. I'm losing a lot of money, man. It's not very nice. Why is my Bitcoin going down so fast?
I think all the markets after hours, so the trading hasn't started yet, but I think all the markets are dipping a little bit because typically markets don't like conflict.
A little bit, my brother.
Oh, actually, quite a bit.
Lost 2K in the last hour, man. Lost 2K pop. I think
looked like quite a bit.
I lost like 150K, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna go up. It's gonna go back up, right?
Well, I mean, they always do in the long term. Just don't sell it when you're losing.
So shouldn't you buy more then? Buy the dip?
I'd say buy the dip in markets, not in crypto. But hey, you do what you want to do. Okay?
Hey, you're more of an open person when it comes down to your relationships with other people, right?
Yeah.
Right. I've seen you have debates with your girlfriends and whatnot. You know, everybody's all open. What's the problem? What's the problem? I'm not trying to instigate, maybe a little bit, but I'm actually wondering because I like you both, and why are you Hasan so distinct these days?
I mean, I can give you my honest opinion, but it's going to sound really circle jerky coming from me, obviously.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't think Hasan will mess with anybody that he can't gain something from. So he's like a very big like networking person. And my platform is not as big as his now, so there's no reason for him to associate with me. And then I think that he tries to avoid people with very differing opinions because he's not usually very well informed on almost anything he talks about politically. He just kind of does like, I would call it like pop politics. So he'll like read a headline, give his take. He'll watch like a 10-minute video with two people in the background on their phones. He'll stretch it out to 2 hours, and he'll just kind of like give a bunch of random platitudes about how conservatives are all Nazis or the West is evil or America bad. And then he just kind of does that. I don't think that he's like very interested in like critically engaging with most of the stuff that he talks about. But I mean, obviously that's my point of view, right? He'll say that on my end, I'm just like a massive debate bro who just like shills for neoliberals, who doesn't care about the truth or any of these things. I just want to like stir shit up and I'm a bad faith actor. So it is what it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Jesus Christ, man. But I don't get it though.
You don't get what?
Well, it's content. I don't know why he's doing that then.
He doesn't, because his platform is big enough that like once he's gotten what he can from something, he'll burn the bridge and then walk away from it, like deliberately. So for instance, like we used to be close, obviously, and then he grew past me, and then he didn't need me anymore, so he moved past it. He used to farm the fuck out of LSF, and then he got really big. He doesn't need LSF anymore, so he told the mods, ban my shit from there permanently or whatever. I think that like once he grows past something, he'll just burn the bridge and then move past it, because he doesn't need it anymore for his growth.
But usually when I'm wrong, right? I have an ego for a moment, right? But then that kind of fades because now I know better, right? From a certain piece of information. Now I feel like I know more and I've grown. Why don't you guys have a debate where you show, hey man, here's why you're wrong and here's the facts, and then he says, oh, you know what, dude, I'm glad I have your perspective because now I understand more, man. And then
because that's not his goal. He doesn't care about like what's actually happening. The goal is that I know there is aesthetically a political movement that exists online today that I can milk the fuck out of for money, and I'm just gonna give the takes that they want to hear. Like I could probably write a script that will generate like every political take that Hasan will give in the next like year over any event ever, right? It's going to be like anything that America is involved in is probably imperialistic. There's probably military companies that are, I think it's people in chat will even ask like, did you see what Hasan said about this? Or like, oh, he probably said this, and this, and then we'll watch the clip and it's like, okay, that's exactly it. It's just going to be like these kind of like boilerplate, like America bad because of this, Republicans bad because of this, Democrats kind of bad but not as bad but still pretty bad, and we all need to be socialists and class interests and blah blah blah. It's like all like the same boring shit. Like you don't ever learn anything new or get into any of the, like when's the last time that he read an article on stream instead of just reading a headline or watching like an 8-minute video by Vox while he's eating or on his phone, you know?
Okay, that's it. But because you said earlier that he had a tweet that ended up being absolutely wrong, right? Right?
Well, yeah, so for like 11 days, he kept tweeting, like, I think he even had a YouTube video. He was like, day 11, still no invasion into Ukraine. You guys were all wrong, blah, blah. Like, he said that over and over and over again. And then when it started to happen, now he's on stream saying, like, well, I don't want to debate any debate bros about this because all they care about is just being right about the issue. They don't even care about the issue, even though he was smug as fuck for the past 2 weeks. And it's probably, like, one of the most brutal, like, walkbacks. Like, he was so smug about this. Even your fans are probably like him more than me would admit. Like, yeah, he was super smug about this. He was very fucking wrong about it, but I mean, it is what it is.
Okay, but then you grow as a person, and then you know more, and you can learn from your mistakes and stop doing it. Listen,
you kind of, that's your goal.
I'm not. Yeah. No. I like mediate. You would think that I'm evil, but I like mediating and being part of something cool much more than instigating it. Why don't you guys talk for a minute?
Hasan will never talk to me. He won't talk to me because he has nothing to gain from
It's
me.
been
Why would
so
he ever
long,
fucking
though,
talk
man.
to me?
You guys haven't talked for
He
so
will
long.
never talk. He'll never talk to me. He has nothing to gain from me and anything to lose. Why would he risk it?
Yeah, I remember
From
when
his perspective, it makes sense, right? Like, if you're growing a platform and you're seen as having some type of political authority, even though you don't have any idea about anything to talk about, right? Why would you ever risk engaging with somebody that might make you look wrong on something? Like, he has absolutely nothing to gain.
That's what I did with the Ethan Klein when I was talking about the gambling, man. I had nothing to win, all to lose.
Yeah, but obviously
you
don't. It's not the same for you, right? You don't. I don't think that. Well, maybe you do care about clout. I don't know. Maybe you. But like, I think Hasan is like very obviously like super networking focused, and it doesn't seem like you care as much about that. But
okay, because I was there, man, when Hasan had fucking 12 viewers and we were playing fucking what was it? Black Zone?
Oh, Blackout, Warzone, or whatever. Blackout, right? Wasn't it Call of Duty Blackout?
Yeah. And we're playing. We kept dropping to the manor. And we kept going down. And I remember, and everybody was having fun. They were having small debates, but now it's just weird, man.
Well, yeah, it's not because he had something to gain back then from all of those people, right? Like, dude, Hasan was in like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign with like Mr. Mooten and like fucking Dan and shit. Like, that's what he was doing back then. But like, once he's like grown past the platform, he's like on to the next thing. He doesn't give a fuck about any of the relationships or friendships he's formed. Like, that doesn't mean anything to him here. It's just like moving on to the. That's why, like, I remember something that was irritating me is that I had like I spent a lot of money to canvass for Senate candidates down in Georgia for the runoff elections because I thought it was really important, and he was shit talking one of the candidates. Over and over again on Twitter until that candidate was like, hey, we're looking for people to play Among Us with, and then he was trying to suck up to them on Twitter. It's like, really? That's just like the way that he works, I guess, is kind of like the direction he's taking his stuff.
Jesus, that's kind of what I do but I don't think I have people know I instigate for content. I have absolutely no integrity in that regard. So since I'm more out there, I feel like it's kind of easier for me to pass like that. Like some people, I'm like, you fuck this guy, but he'll say, well, hey, let's play some games. I'm like, yeah, for sure, right? Because I don't really give a shit. I think it's content, right? If I think it's content, I'm doing it.
But you don't take it personally. I don't think you take it personally, right? But Hasan takes it very personally. Like, this guy is going through like Reddit threads on screen, like upvoting, downvoting shit while he's got 40,000 people watching. He was in a new threads on Public Freakout 2 days ago, getting people to mass downvote new threads about him so that they wouldn't get popular because he can't handle like the negative feedback. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know what you want to. Yeah.
Shit. You know what? What if you were to talk to him? And you guys would talk. Do you think you would actually have a good dialogue about it or not?
I'm chill with anybody. I don't give a fuck. But I don't think that he'll ever talk to me again. You can ask if you want, but like, keep in mind also that like I have everything to gain from that conversation, and he has nothing to gain from it. So like,
yeah, but the thing is that you every time you have something to gain, you gain it. When you play League and you lose all of it plus more. So it doesn't really matter now, does it?
Yeah, but to the other person, they feel bad, right? Like he doesn't enjoy. Like, imagine if he talks to me about something and then he's wrong. He's gonna hear about it from my chat. He's gonna hear about it from his chat. Like, it's not gonna be a good feeling for him. It's gonna make him feel like even more like ego fuck. Like, why even risk it? There's just no point. If he wants to, I would always do it. And he is missing out on content because technically, if he was doing debates with like me or even Vosh or whatever, he'd probably double or triple his viewership because people love to watch that shit. But his ego is like way too fragile to handle like actually talking to somebody that disagrees.
See, this is why I debated Ethan, because I think I had a point, but I also think he had a point. But I just think it'd be good content.
Yeah, for sure, and it is. Usually it is. Like, debates are like the biggest content for like political people. Like, people love to watch each other scream at each other, you know?
Because these debates, when you lose them, it doesn't make you look that bad though. It's like you had a belief it was wrong or it was whatever, and now you kind of know more. But it's not a big downfall. It's not like I'm gonna get canceled or whatever. Like, you don't lose that much out of it, you know?
I mean, yeah, but Hasan's really scared of talking. You have to understand that he's marketed me as like this insane person. Like, he's told his whole family, like, he calls me racial slurs. He's like markets me as this like crazy fucking conservative, blah blah blah, over and over again. If we were to have a conversation and people realize like, oh shit, like he doesn't know like what he's talking about, Hasan doesn't, it's gonna look so bad. Like, there was a guy that was blowing up on Twitter, too mad, and Hasan avoided talking to this dude just because he was scared that I was gonna show up magically on the call. That's how frightened he is of like those types of like challenging conversations. Yes.
What do you think about this guy too mad?
I don't know anything about it. He shows up in my Twitter mentions sometimes. Apparently he's a big beamer. Apparently Jreg was feeding him lines to tweet, and it's not. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, I don't know. That's
the other night I went to get some ice cream, and he showed up out of nowhere.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, actually kind of crazy. Hold on, let's see.
He runs like two like huge meme channels, I think, on YouTube, right?
Does he?
Yeah, like millions of subs, I think. 2 million, 5 million on each channel or something like that.
Okay. Because I feel like good conversations can't hurt anybody. That's why I'm hiding us under the group. We'll see how it goes. See,
Oh,
I added
God.
to the call. It's not funny. Don't laugh. No, it's not funny. It's not funny, man. I'm adding to the group.
I'm not laughing, dude. I'm just chilling.
No, because I think I'm a good mediator. You know?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, see? Because now you say you're not big enough, right? That it makes sense. I feel it's not an ego thing. Maybe I could be the big enough to oh, he left. To be the bridge.
Yeah?
To be the bridge that just kind of solidifies it like cement.
Uh-huh.
Because I feel like I hear your takes, but I'm watching his stream about some of the things, and I feel like we could come to a consensus and learn more. We could definitely come out on top with this conversation, but he didn't leave the group, but he left the convo. But I'm sure
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll join, right?
Absolutely, dude. He's so excited. He's never joined in this conversation. It's not gonna happen.
Why not? It'd be so fun though.
That's not what he wants. He just wants to circle jerk with his audience. He doesn't want why would he have a challenging conversation when instead he could just like have fun with his audience? Like that's it.
I said I think it'd be good content, and we can all come out on top.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey. If you want like well, never mind. Go ahead.
No, you want what? Tell me.
I was gonna say people were linking me like all the tweets. If you wanted a sample of what I was talking about.
Oh, is that where he gets proven wrong?
No. It was about what he was saying before. So like, it's Monday and it seems like Russia still hasn't invaded Ukraine as all the high-level intelligence suggested. Maybe this week. Hope not. Anyways, lots to talk about today. Listening to NPR reporters confused about why the people on the ground in Ukraine are calm when a Russian invasion is imminent is hilarious. They're confused why no one's taking money out or leaving the towns. Maybe it's because the Ukrainians don't watch American news every day. Like these are like the level of tweets that he was doing basically.
Jesus. What if, let's say, this is kind of a dumb thing. What if say a bomb were to land on a bank, and do they get all the money out of it?
I don't know the answer to that question. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how much banks keep in like physical currency.
Probably not a lot, right?
I have no idea. I don't know if you bank rob. Like,
yeah,
I honestly I don't know. That would be sick. If you go blow up a bank in a country, can you just go take all the money? I'm not sure.
Because I would think that money is just paper, right? Couldn't they like burn all the money inside and reprint it somewhere else and say, oh guys, we went minus $10 over here. Let's just put $10 and print it somewhere else.
I have no idea. I'm not sure.
Yes.
Like I'm sure that there's like some physical currency for every digital currency, but I don't know how much like banks physically hold. Have you ever heard of?
They don't hold much. I think depending what size and how big your city is, or whatever, they don't hold much money.
Yeah, it's called fractional reserve banking. I think you only have to have a percentage in your reserves before you like loan it out and stuff. And then even for money that's in accounts, a lot of that might be digitally allocated, and at the end of the day or weeks, you might move money around in big transfers. But I don't know if every bank has like every dollar that they say they do, like in a savings account.
A lot of people will do like shit like bank runs and shit like that, right?
Oh. Well, if people think a bank run is going to happen, people will like the government usually will limit withdrawals, or banks will limit withdrawals, so that doesn't happen.
That's kind of weird. You know what I've noticed though? How hard spending money is. It is incredibly hard to just spend money. Deadass. Like buying.
What do you mean by that?
Just buying stuff, getting money out, getting approval to buy it. Like motherfucker, it's actually hard to spend it, man.
How? I don't know what you're talking about. If you want to buy shit, you just go and buy it. What do you mean?
Maybe I'm just kind of dumb. I feel like it's hard to buy shit sometimes.
What do you like? What is hard to buy?
Anything.
Like, is it hard for you to buy fast food?
No. I have a credit card.
Okay, is it hard for you to buy a car?
Yeah, decently. Yeah, it's decently hard. Yeah.
So like, if you go to like the car dealership and you're like, I want to buy a car, and they're like, okay, you can't like get a money order or write them a check, or
yeah, I have to make a couple phone calls. But it's kind of odd though. It's kind of annoying.
Why do you have to make a couple phone calls?
Well, because all my thing is Canadian, you know, and I'm in the United States, so things are kind of weird. Things get odd.
Oh, never mind. That's probably different.
And then
because it probably sets off. Well, because there's probably like a lot of red flags set off when huge sums of Canadian currencies being converted to U.S. currency. That's probably true. Okay.
Yeah, things get really fucky. It's like half the time shops won't let me buy anything. Because it's like, it's Canadian money or whatever the fuck. Or whenever you bought it, it transferred to USD and it jammed or some shit. I don't fucking know, dude. It's so annoying. Yeah, I need Sammy's permission. True. I mean,
why not get like, do you have like a US bank account or?
Nope. It's empty. I'll only use it to pay taxes.
Oh, okay.
Man, that's something to enjoy, man.
That's crazy that didn't happen, you know?
Wait, do you not think it would have been good though?
Yeah, it would be good, but probably not.
Be honest though. Okay, content brain aside, normal brain aside, put all your brains together and your rationality. Do you think it would actually be good to have a sit down and talk about your problem, like a sit down?
For me, it would be. For you, it would be content. But for him, he has nothing to gain from me.
Why he does though.
What?
Because it builds character.
But he doesn't care about character. Dude, this is a guy that's had everything handed to him throughout his entire fucking life. Why is he trying to build character? He just wants to build an audience. He doesn't need any of that shit. The dude's making like fucking 7 figures a month on Twitch. Why would he waste his time with an angry fucking gnome that plays League of Legends all day? Like, there's no reason for him to like to even allocate like 10 seconds of his time to it, right? Think about it from his perspective. Why, if you didn't give a fuck about like building character or any shit like that, like why the fuck would you even think about it? Why would you care?
Okay. But I think it's kind of cool though. Like sometimes, yeah. Oh, what would be the thing that I would do the least for now? Oh, talk Destiny. How about we do that, right? Maybe we'll get a different outcome. Maybe we'll. Oh my God, look. I have so much many problems with this guy. I'm talking to him now, and look. We had a decent interaction about it. Boom. We didn't yell. We didn't scream. And now I can show that as somebody that I dislike, that I don't agree with, we both come out on top and we have fun.
Yeah, but he doesn't care about that. Do you understand? You understand that different people care about different things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck about that, right?
Man, I'll send him one more DM.
Okay, gotcha.
I said, Destiny wants to bury the hatchet, that ass.
Yeah.
Why, is that not what you want though?
I mean, obviously, yeah, if you want to. But I just... There's breaking news going on right now, my dude.
Well, it's not really breaking anymore. It's already broke news. It's like it already
might keep breaking. What if a bomb drops and I don't read about it till tomorrow morning? My life is going to be fucking over. Can you imagine being that uninformed that you're sleeping and everybody else around the world knows something that you're not going to know for 6 more hours? Like, oof, I can't even imagine.
Jesus.
I'm not the center of the conversation. Okay? If you try to make me the center of the conversation here, you're a fucking idiot. Ukraine is being bombed right now. A country with 44 million people. 44 million people. And the territorial sovereign power.
He's hovering over people with my emotes and contemplating banning them.
Oh, hey, what are you gonna do, man?
Absolutely disastrous.
Okay, well, no, I know he doesn't like it. I'm gonna stop him now.
Okay, that's good.
Well, no, because now I don't want to make it weird anymore. Because people are gonna go from my chat to his chat, and it's gonna be disaster. And if he doesn't like it,
it's not. You know, it's not weird now. Now it just got weird.
Well, it wasn't weird before when I brought it up, because if he joined, right, then you won't have the pressure of other people, right?
Yeah. Okay.
If you just go straight up, then you don't have the dog shit.
Let's go back to how
Gotcha.
this all started. It was a slow build up to a possible attack where the Ukrainian.
What I like to do sometimes when my mother does that, I say, guys, I'm not playing or talking with that person in a story. I don't want to hear about it. And then the hoppers and the choppers, they stop. People say, dude, go watch Adin. He has his girl and she has her tits on his face on stream. I'm like, guys, I don't give a shit. We're playing this bullshit game right now. I will not go watch Adin and the titties. It's not gonna happen. And then they just completely stop spamming about it. You know?
Okay.
That's kind of like I address it. I don't like just saying silent about it that much.
Oh yeah, because if you say something and move on, then there'll be like a few dick riders that keep doing shit. But for the most part, people will fuck off, right?
Yeah, they dilute very, very fast.
Yeah.
And then I had Moz Venom. Oh, I'm really bringing Twitch drama.
Oh, I saw. Oh, okay. Hold on. Since I'm talking to the big man himself, I'm curious. A lot of people are speculating that big streamers won't go to TwitchCon. What do you think?
Well, why wouldn't I?
I don't know. People are saying like they got too big an audience and they're scared for security reasons that people get killed or some weird shit. Yeah, I don't. This is just speculation at LSF. I'm trying to find out. So you're going. You're going to be at TwitchCon EU.
No, NA.
Oh, so you're not going to Amsterdam.
Amsterdam is far away though.
Okay, but you would go to NA, so okay.
I don't like traveling very much. Overseas. I don't like going overseas. It's.
Oh wait, this is true. I remember you because you told me some fucking Omega autism story where you like skipped some of, or wait, somebody else told me you skipped like some event like 2 times in a row just because you didn't want to fucking fly to it.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, they booked me a fucking first class ticket.
And then they booked you a second one, and you like just. And
I dodged it again.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, apparently there was a door and a desk with a full fucking stream state of my name on it, and people were lining up and shit.
You should just be like really meta and find some other tall, skinny, like blonde dude and send him in your place. See what I mean?
Yeah, just replace me. A double ganger.
Like they see you on stream, they're not gonna see you in real life and be like, "You're not really xQc, right? You must be somebody, right?" They're not gonna know.
I'll send Rubius.
Okay, I don't know who that is, but sure.
Yeah, El Rubius will do it for real. Fuck, man. Oh yeah, I'm playing Elden Ring at 3 AM, which is in 7 hours. I think that's gonna be kind of wicked.
Oh shit! Maybe if Elden Ring drops, maybe the Russian military will be too busy to invade Ukraine. Maybe that'll be the salvation, dude.
They don't play video games.
Why not? Have you ever played Dota? You don't think Russians play video games?
They play Dota?
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Did you beat like Sekiro and Bloodborne and
all the games? I beat all of them. Yep.
Wow. Did you play the Demon Souls remake?
Yeah, beat it, that one too.
Wow, good job.
Yeah, I beat all of them. I don't think these games are very hard. If your build isn't that dog shit, you're gonna have an easy time doing it.
Okay.
People say it's 3 PM tomorrow. No, it's 3 AM today. Because yesterday you guys didn't see it, but I'm currently in New Zealand. I took my private jet. And I made a room that looks just like the one that you're currently living in. And this is my house in New Zealand.
So you got a green screen, dude.
Yeah, green screen. Cool, now, right? Cool, man.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll need you to go back to the league. My attempt at rekindling a relationship didn't work very well today, but perhaps...
next time, for sure, we'll get him, okay?
We'll go next time.
Hey, real talk though, be careful with this, because Hasan is never going to talk to you if he thinks I might be, like, lurking, okay? He's got, like, huge paranoia about that. He doesn't want me to, like, Steven Crowder you, or, Sam Cedar you, I guess, technically, so be careful on that, alright?
Okay, well, you know that I'm somewhat of a decent friend, not a good one, and I wouldn't sneak you in, okay? I wouldn't ambush him. I don't do ambushes, okay? I set up...
Wait, who? Who?
Me, Hasan?
No, who the fuck asked?
What the fuck? Why did you leave the combo like that, man? That's fucking weird, man. What is wrong with this guy? Actually... Why do you do that? Motherfucker.